Hi, I'm Drew.
And I'm Sam.
And welcome to Drewling Samantics. Hey Sam, it's Drew here.
Right.
Hello mate.
I'm here. Sorry, I know it's slightly late, but it's all right. We'll get going. What have we got news-wise? What have you been up to?
Sam, you deep breath and what on earth are you doing?
Mate, look, I know how busy you are, and I thought, well, we've got to fit a recording in because we've managed to move stuff around. And I thought, well, let's not waste any time. Let's get straight on with it.
But buddy, I'm here. I'm all Drewling Samantics. I'm all me good mate Sam's for as long as it takes, mate. So just take a deep breath and chill. It's all right.
Do you know what might help me calm down a little bit?
Oh, have a look. Well, I'm not on the coffee today. I'm got a little cup of tea because I got to work later. So there we go.
Yes, yeah. So, but anyway, mate, it's lovely to see you. How are you?
And you. Yeah, I'm all good. We're having good shows, having good audiences.
Yes, of course.
Most importantly, for outside, we're having good weather. So there we go.
Yes, absolutely. As we reflected in social media, so why not sit outside, have a drink, have an ice cream, have a barbecue, and put Drewling Samantics on in the background? Or,
hey,
I'll tell you what, here's a random link that suddenly popped in my head. You know our good friend Callum Donnelly, who I did Panto with a couple of years running,
very much
runs the Roaming Cinema. What people should do is call Callum, book the Roaming Cinema for like one of their big inflatable, big outdoor screens in the garden, have a barbecue, and then play all our episodes, all our YouTube clips.
What an amazing! But we get bookend it with Callum's episodes. We'd be in. We'd be brilliant.
We could have Callum on the screen that he's hiring out with. Yeah, I mean, there's some sort of weird inception.
There is, there's strange synchronicity there.
And speaking of strange, what a weird opening to an episode. But anyway, I'm glad that things are going well.
Thanks, mate.
Well, mate. I'm glad you're busy. Obviously busy this end too.
Good.
But and I'm almost good at not flip things on its head. But normally I come straight to you for the news. But I think we kind of have to deal with the big thing that last week, or one of the major things that happened this week, the sad passing of the incredible Tina Turner. I think, I mean, we've used the word a couple of times about people, but I think there's perhaps no one that more sort of epitomizes the word legend than Tina Turner.
The other word is icon that is bandied around a lot, and I think those legend, icon. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Because it was when it was almost reverential when the news came, when we heard the newscast, and I like a lot of people probably heard the news first on social media, but when it was announced on the news, there was ladies and gentlemen, Tina Turner, and it was so kind of important.
Yeah.
It was, and then I watched a little sort of tribute to her, and like that enormous backstory, that the amazing life she had with Ike Turner, and the rather upsetting life she had with, but then everything else, and at the end of that, she spawned films, a wonderful musical. I mean, what more do you want?
Just incredible. And I think that there are little things that I've learned from people telling me that they've read about, or that the news or articles have sort of aired, that I didn't realize. Things like, I think it wasn't until she was in her early 40s that she sort of, her career took off. Like, it was slightly, I say later in life, not later, but you know what I mean.
From
a former point of view. And also, I read an incredible article that said she discovered towards the end of her life she had kidney failure, kidney disease, and I believe she was going to go to Switzerland and was considering sort of the assisted suicide sort of thing, because she was a citizen of Switzerland, I think. I don't know whether family are, but essentially her husband Owen donated one of his kidneys to her to give her a few extra months. Just the stories that perhaps, I mean, they're obviously well known to a lot of people,
Yeah.
Equally, they're not. They're almost like side stories to the main event sort of thing, but they're enormous in their own right. So just madness, really.
It's extraordinary how I mean, it's an incredible life, an incredible career, coupled with, I mean, she, you know, that she had an enormous personal journey that you think, like you say, she, you know, she was ill, and she had those down parts where you thought, well, maybe this, you know, maybe she won't ever perform again, or then she suddenly took off, and this amazing Alter Image came out. This amazing, and you think, this is the life that she's always wanted to live. This is the person. She's come out from whatever, you know, whoever's thumb she was under, what behind whatever curtain she was hiding, whatever metaphor you like. But suddenly she did become, you know, I mean, it's a dreadful thing, but she did become simply the best. She spoke her own words. You know, I know it's a crass thing to say, but you know, and then and I watch how people, you know, go, yeah, Tina Turner, and you watch those live performances, and it's like, there is no other female performer doing that kind of stuff. No, you know,
at the age she was. I mean, I watched a video clip of her. I don't know where it was, whether it was Hyde Park or some enormous thing, where she's walking along this like catwalk out to a stand over tens of thousands of people. And she was in her mid-60s at that point, strutting along like it was nothing. And I mean, madness.
Yeah,
obviously, brilliant. No offense to anyone who is in their 60s. Of course, but you know where I'm coming. I mean,
I do. Oh, no, absolutely, yeah.
So yes, I think raising a glass or raising your cup, your mug, to a fabulous performer,
amazing lady.
Yeah,
great stuff.
But yes, indeed. So obviously a negative there, but we always try and put the positive spin in, looking back happily and. Lots of other positive things going on, as you say. You've got some great shows in the bag. You must be.
Yeah, I was talking about positive. I was, you know, it's an unusual situation that we're working in the open air. Thankfully, we have great weather, but it was so heartening to see a live audience, obviously. But you think, so these people are bringing their cushions, they're bringing their bottles of wine, they're bringing their little picnics, excuse me, sitting there, risking the weather, although we've had some beautiful evenings.
Yes.
Coming out to live theatre, and you think, you paid your money, you're taking a risk because it could be good, it could be bad, may not have it. But also, you know, and I was watching people last night wrapping themselves in blankets as the evening comes in. You know, we go up at 7 o'clock, so we come down around about 9:20, 9:30, and depending on the queue for the bar, and you know, it's getting nippy. Now on stage, we're all sort of running around. We've got a few lights on us, but I'm thinking, live theatre, you cannot get any more live than that. We're back to, you know, playing in amphitheatres, and I'm just thinking how a long way from going, I just put the telly on, watch a movie, shove on Netflix or Amazon, put my feet up, and I don't risk anything. I'm at home, you know.
Yeah, it's intriguing, isn't it? Because, as you say, we have come a long way, and technology has. You can look at it in one or two ways. Has it made us lazier, or are we that much busier, and time is money, and the demand for our time suggests that perhaps we aren't as free as we want to be, so technology has had to reflect that. I mean,
yeah,
you could look at it on a different level, in the sense of cinema. So it used to be, I say used to be, still is, it's still a big event to go and see a film. A lot of people only do it very rarely, if at all, anymore. There are very few people out there that sort of can say, I go to the cinema 3-4 times a week. But I would suggest that things like on-demand streaming services, so as you've mentioned, Netflix, Amazon, other things that supply movies direct to home TV, are, want of a better phrase, killing cinema. I mean, there will always be a need for it, but when you look at how much easier, quicker, and the big one, potentially cheaper, it is to sit at home, yes, a film comes out in cinema first, mostly, but a lot of stuff goes straight to release on Netflix, Apple,
Yeah,
Amazon.
yeah.
I can't think of any others off the top of my head, but so many things straight to home release, so to speak. And if you're paying for subscriptions, then you almost have to go, well, I have to watch because I have to justify that cost. And then you think, well, look at the cinema now. I mean, what is it? Probably £10 to £15 a ticket per person. If you want a drink, if you want some popcorn, you add another 10 to 15 quid. You've got the drive there, or public transport there, or parking, or all those sorts of things. It's become a very expensive way to spend your time. And
it's interesting because hearing you say that, theatre used to be the expensive one. Cinema was we'll just go to the cinema.
Yeah.
Pay a few quid, box of popcorn, done. Like you say, now it's so you've got almost the theatre is a big event. Cinema is the next big event. But if you haven't got, the wares, or you just want a cheap night, or you think entertainment tonight, whack on Netflix, whack on Amazon, whack on any of those streaming services. Even put the free TV streaming services on. It's not going to cost you anything.
No.
And watch Catchup. Go, oh, you remember that? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think rather than losing audiences, we're just spreading the audiences. Do you know what I mean? There are less people going to the cinema because there are more options at home. I don't know what that means for people like us.
It depends. You can look at it in both a negative and a positive way, I suppose. I mean, as you say, we're spreading that audience, and that audience isn't necessarily growing. So it means that the audience in certain areas is sparser, and maybe that's why prices are, in the same way of anything, prices are continually increasing. The same way that, I guess, shops, as in walk-in in-person shops, are probably having to increase prices because it's so easy to use the internet and have things delivered next day or even same day in a lot of cases. So to pay their bills when their sales are lower in store, and I'm certainly no businessman, so I don't know this is a fact, but this is what I imagine is going on, they're then having to increase slightly. Plus then you've got cost of living, electricity, all those sorts of things that have increased. So again, you're having to whack that up, the rates for shops, rent and things like that. And then you equate that to the same with cinema, potentially. Because less people are going, it has to be more expensive to justify the cost of running a screen, or maybe they run less screens. And then if a cinema is not fully working, does it justify its rental costs and the sort of the space it occupies, when that could be perhaps torn down and used for something else? That's quite a what's the word? Quite a over-exaggerated view on it, perhaps. But yeah, it's really difficult because equally, and I couldn't honestly say which side of the fence I sort of sit on. By having Netflix, Amazon, on-demand services, streaming sites, are there more opportunities for performers like us? Or does it just mean there's less in other areas?
Yeah. I mean, I suppose in one respect, there's a crossover happening. Those big streaming services, they have found an audience, subscription audience or whatever. The good thing is, and maybe this is where it is good for us, that they are investing in products. They are making films.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the period of the Cannes Film Festival at the moment, and an enormous amount of films that are being screened there have been, produced under the banner of the big streaming companies. Now, that's got to be good that they're making more product, but also, they're making it for their own services as well. So are they becoming massive studios in their own right? And does that mean that either that's a good thing and they're giving us, as performers, the technical side, the crews, everybody else, cameramen, writers, all the other associated industries, are they creating work, or are they controlling that to such a point that they go, yeah, we don't want that to happen anymore. We will close those cinemas. The Warner's brand, get rid of that. It becomes us. are they just becoming huge juggernauts that are going to run everybody out? It's a very very interesting journey that we're on, I think, and good, like you say, good and bad. But I mean, it's when they become too big to control, then we could be in danger. But I don't know. I don't know.
Well, it is really difficult, isn't it? And you can look at the positives, you can look at the negatives, you can reflect on all sorts of ways that people are affected. But essentially, I think you have to look at the big factors: finance and convenience. And those are the ones that will continue to dictate, not just in this scenario, but across the board. Because that's kind of the two most valuable, for want of a better explanation, things that people have are their time and their money. And then you have to weigh up what makes sense in that respect. I don't know. So, I mean, I've worked on numerous projects in the past couple of years that have already been said it's going to go straight to a streaming site or a on-demand service. But if I look back 5 or 6 years ago, I'm not sure that was the same. And that seems like a really quick change. And then I hate to go back to it because we try not to talk about it. But do you think perhaps our unwelcome guest of a few years ago has had a big effect on that as well?
I think so, Sam. I think it was a turning point in people's. I mean, I know people that now and before didn't watch terribly much terrestrial TV. And a lot of. I mean, people said, "Oh, there's so much to watch on there now." Well, there isn't. There's an awful lot of channels just repeating what other channels. I mean, One of your favorite shows and one of my favorite shows is CSI. There's about 5 channels repeating episodes of CSI over and over and over again, and you think, what are they doing that for? Well, eventually, like one of the channels, like Dave, who was repeating comedy shows, now they've earned enough money now to produce their own shows.
Yes.
Good. So that's kind of what Netflix have done. They and Amazon, all those streaming services, other streaming services are available, but but they've now made enough money that they're producing their own stuff. And we said at the time, we were all sitting there wanting to be entertained. We rinsed, those streaming services dry. So I think then people are now going, make more stuff for us. I love sitting here, the convenience of just, wherever I am, stick my laptop on, stick my tablet on, stick my phone on, boom, there I am. I mean, I travel on the tube a lot, and I see people in the morning sitting there, and they've got it there on their phone, watching stuff. And you think, where did that come from? Instead of playing, Candy Crush, people are now watching, whatever is on Netflix or whatever, So you think that is a change. And I think that did happen during lockdown, is because people needed anything. And we said how important that was. But I think also what I was thinking about is, what's the quality like? How is the quality? And overall, you have to say there isn't that much crap made. There is some, but I mean, one man's meat. I mean, if someone said to me, do you want to watch Love Island? I'd stab my eyes out. But someone else loves that program. It's like, I'm a celebrity, get me out of here. I'd hold your head under the water. I mean, just go away. I won't get you out.
Alienating all the really popular shows here. We're not doing
but I'm not alienating them. I hate them. But other people like them. And that's why, it is demand. People are making shows to. I don't think television, terrestrial television, is making shows, that we used to. We've made wonderful period dramas and wonderful. They are out there. There's some great TV, great detective TVs, great films, great series. But then you've got all the celebrity shows now. Those are the ones you have to they're the ones that hold the audience. If you didn't have people watching Love Island, would they then watch, I don't know, whatever popular, a detective series is on or whatever? Do you know what I mean? But Netflix and all those channels, they've listened, and I think because they have massive budgets and massive audienceship, I think they are making stuff that really holds their audiences. Every now and again, you get a series and you think, everyone's watching that. Doesn't matter, know.
I think you've sort of raised another couple of good points there. What I don't think, I was going to say a lot of people don't know, perhaps they do know, but perhaps a lot of people forget or sort of cast aside. Netflix was essentially a blockbuster rival when it started out. And I don't think we had it over here. I think it was in the US, but Netflix used to post DVDs to people. It was basically an online mail order rental service.
Yeah.
So essentially they were a distribution company. And as you say, the more and more money they had, they sort of saw they had the opportunity to then go into the creation side, which is a positive progression. And it's clearly worked. Amazon, as another example, slightly different. It's just this enormous monopoly that have gone into every sort of angle they can. And it makes you wonder how long before Google have a streamer, if they don't already. I mean, I'm not aware of one, but it's only a matter of time.
Yeah, only a matter of time.
Apple have done it. And again, they're a tech brand, technically. Like, they do various things. But so I think progression is a big one there. Another thing you mentioned, the watching sort of, you see people watching episodes on the train or on the tube. That again comes down to the value of time. So a lot of people, if they're working long hours or if they have stuff to do, or if they've got kids to look after in the evening or whatever, might not have the time to sit down and watch that. But if they've got a 45-minute commute to work every morning and then home from work every evening, that is 45 minutes where you can multitask. And I think there's almost become a necessity to multitask. You can't just do one thing at a time anymore.
But also there is the availability. I mean, you get on a tube train now, and before those services were available, people would have a book or a Kindle or a newspaper. There are no new. I don't watch anything on the tube because I love watching people, and I just think if I got my eyes are on my screen, I'm working on it. I think I'm out and about. I don't want to sit there like that because I'm going to be doing that for a couple of hours somewhere else.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're wondering who the creepy guy is, it's Drew. Drew's the
one. Well, no,
it's
like Ferris Bueller's Day Off. You know, you don't take the time. If you don't take the time to look around, you miss things.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, and I mean, I saw a guy pull a young girl back from stepping off in front of a bus the other day because she was looking at her phone, and I went, and my mind went, yeah. I mean, that's a stupid example. It's an extreme and it happens rarely, but it's like, lift your head up from your phone, look around, savor those moments. When I sit down and watch something, TV, Netflix, whatever, you know, it's because it's like I kind of, you know, this is it, relaxation. I can take this and I can give it my full attention. But I don't know. And then that comes down to, you know, again, how people watch, what people watch, and then it is a changing world, and you know. Sometimes I kick against it. Other times I go, yeah, fine. I'm going to binge watch. You know, I'm going to do a box set. Go for it. You know,
I mean, we'd be stupid to almost kind of look at things like this negatively. I mean, we exist and we make no secret of it. We are a podcast. We are also on YouTube. But if you look at our viewing figures on YouTube versus our downloads and streams as a podcast, YouTube pales in comparison. And the main reason for that, other than the fact people don't want to look at your face, is that to watch something, you have to go, I am going to watch and focus, and it's very difficult to do something else at the same time because visually you need to pay attention and you cannot sort of split your eyesight. Whereas, as many do, I will listen to podcasts when running, or if you're doing the cleaning around the house, you can have music on in the background or a podcast on in the background, or if you're walking to work, or if you're on the tube traveling or in the car. So audio is very much the easier medium, I would suggest, to do at the same time as doing other things.
That's true.
But equally, YouTube is an on-demand service. YouTube, you go on and you can watch at any time, and all these things, the same as podcasts, it's something where you can go, right, I have got the time to do that. Now, don't get me wrong, it's very, very unusual for anyone to not have the facility to record stuff. these days. I mean, if you've got Sky or Virgin or BT or insert other service here, almost all of them come with their own sort of box or whatever, where you can go, oh,
Yeah.
I'd love to watch that program, but I'm insert other thing here, so I'll record it. But then you have the issue of coming back and going, right, I need to find the time to watch that and catch up and blah, blah, blah. And then there's sort of an expiry to it, so to speak, that you go, well, I'm so far behind now, or there's so many to watch, I can't do it. But why do we view that different to something like Netflix or Amazon, where it's, again, just, right, we'll pick up whenever? I don't know. I can't answer the question, but it does feel different. Something that you've made the sort of move yourself to record versus something that you can pick up at any time. There still seems to be a difference there. And for some reason, things like Netflix and Amazon still seem to be winning that. It's not a battle, but you know where I'm coming from, right?
I do know. I think if you're watching like terrestrial TV, it used to be episode 1 this week, episode 2 next week, episode 3. And it was like you and like you say, you made a commitment. If you watch a podcast on YouTube, you've got to sit there. You've got to make a commitment. Or you can control your viewing and your listening and your time. As you say, you can just go, bang, or I'll just stick the buds in and sit on, and do whatever I'm doing. I'm driving, I'll stick a podcast on, or I'll go, right, I'm going to watch 2 episodes of that, and then I'll watch that, and then I'll, you can. And I think people, out of necessity, but also because they like to, have a little bit of control. And I don't think that's altogether a bad thing, because it does mean then that content is being viewed and watched, and people are enjoying it. And I think if you take that away from them, if you take choice away, then maybe they will walk away. So maybe that's the
yeah. Okay, so here's
the attraction.
Here's a question with no answer. Why do people still pay for a TV license? I mean, I'm sure actually these days the numbers aren't as high as they always were. But if you were to compare it, and I know you can't compare because it's very different, but let's say you've got a Netflix subscription, which is £8 a month, I think, something along those lines.
$6.99, I think it is now. I pay.
And you've got millions, literally millions of movies, series, blah, blah, blah on there. Fine. What's TV license now? 15 quid a month? Double the cost, roughly?
Yeah, it's about 100. Is it like 150 odd a year, something like that? Yeah. So, yeah.
And that gives you essentially 3 or 4 channels?
Well, then there's all the digital channels as well, I suppose. So,
but only certain things come under the BBC's kind of control at that point, because Freeview is literally that, isn't it? Freeview. You can go out and buy a Freeview box, and as long as you're not watching BBC channels, as far as I'm aware,
you don't need a license.
For a license. So, yeah. I mean, I'm playing devil's advocate. I obviously have a TV license because it's just something you always do. And of course, I watch the BBC and I use those channels at times. But if I was sort of trying to create a bit of a debate, value for money, I'm not sure you technically are getting the same.
It's true. I mean, I suppose you could argue that along with your license fee, that pays for radio, news, all those things that are under that banner. I mean, I don't know. As we know that every now and again, the government starts going, is the BBC worth it? Should we be paying a license fee? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. It's the same outcome. They do the rigmarole, but then it just comes back.
Then they just stick the license fee up and we all pay it. Yeah. It is an interesting, I say, and as you said, it is a question almost without an answer. I suppose the answer is, yeah, we'll carry on paying it because we need to, and it is a legal requirement, But yeah, I mean, I don't know for how much longer a television license will be required or will be needed. I mean, I can't, in all these years of subscription TV, and you say it when you've got a company like Netflix, Amazon, or whatever, and they're turning out movies, programs, loads and loads and loads. They're buying stuff in, the independent channels buy stuff in, BBC buy stuff in. So why aren't we not paying, $6.99 which is what I pay for my Netflix a month for the BBC.
Yeah.
What is different? And that argument will go on, and then there's people like me that defend the BBC in a lot of instances. Yes, there's a lot wrong with it. There's a lot wrong with Netflix. There's a lot wrong with Amazon. Blah.
Oh God!
But I've always kind of defended it,
or whatever. But yeah, and as I say, I have a TV license and I will continue to pay it because the BBC does create something.
Yeah.
But I think it is a question as to value for money. I would hope that the BBC will continue because of what it does, and I think things like perhaps sport and big events that will almost always go on there will keep it running regardless. But I find this whole discussion interesting. It affects us in the business by opening opportunities, but also taking them away simultaneously. Yeah. It makes it highly competitive, but it definitely makes life interesting.
It certainly does.
The biggest battle that anyone has is picking and choosing between, because if you were to go, right, well, I want to watch every football match, so you've got to have Sky Sports and BT and Amazon now because they spread football between those three. Then you go, well, also I want to watch stuff that comes up on the BBC, so that's another subscription you need there. Then you could just continually I want to watch movies. I haven't got the time to go to cinema. So you add something like Sky Box Office or Virgin Box Office or whatever. The amount of money you'll end up paying to have everything available suddenly then makes you think, actually, I probably should have gone to the cinema in the first place. But there's never going to be a right or wrong answer.
No.
The debate will always be there. I think things will continue to almost push more towards on-demand for convenience and for finance sake. And particularly, one other sort of thing to think about, I wonder, and I have no information on this whatsoever, and I might be making an absolute fool of myself, but I wonder how many people who have Amazon Prime only started having Amazon Prime when either A, Top Gear / the Grand Tour moved to Amazon, or Clarkson started doing his farm show, because he has such a phenomenal following, and we know he's very much a Marmite character, Jeremy Clarkson. A lot of people love him, a lot of people hate him. But when you look back and think the prime years of Top Gear, when it was Clarkson, Hammond and May, the viewing figures were probably the highest of anything on the BBC.
Oh, yeah.
Special events. Yeah. For them to then go to Amazon, how many people did they take with them? Was that a big moment? And will that continue to happen with other things when certain shows are no longer on the BBC or on terrestrial and they get picked up by streaming sites? How many people will go, well, I have to have that now.
I got to have that. Yeah.
It's no different to the football. It used to be a case of Sky Sports pretty much did everything. And then when you had things like FA Cup and World Cup and stuff like that, it was on the BBC, so everyone got it anyway, in theory. Now it is so spread out between all of the different streamers and supply chains that if you want to watch everything, or if you want to have the facility to watch everything, it's not cheap. So
it's not cheap. I mean, you as you say, you pay for the convenience of being able to find it. I mean, for me, at the end of the day, I just hope that these big companies keep the quality, and they have to, because if it's crap, they die. Yeah. So they've got to keep it, But I mean, I have to say, I do like the fact that if you've got Amazon Prime, you can order a couple of T-shirts, and you can watch Clarkson as well at the same time. So I love that analogy. That was great, So you can order your Grand Tour T-shirt and sit wearing it, because it arrived that morning. Yeah. But
as the new episode comes in,
as the new episode comes out, yeah, I did.
So we've managed to spend a whole episode, mate, basically saying nothing, because we've kind of gone, oh, there's all these issues, but we're going to deal with them anyway. Or
it's going to stay in it, yeah.
It's a bad thing, but it's a good thing. But it's a bad thing, but it's a good. I don't know, but it is a topic that is highly interesting and is not going anywhere for a long time.
No.
And it'll be interesting to see it develop over time as well. So.
Yeah. No, I think there's a long way to go. Yeah, there's going to be many discussions and many diversions along the way. But well, we'll follow them. We will follow this.
Indeed. And we're going to follow How about this, ready? We're going to follow this week's episode with a guest episode next week.
Beautifully done, Sam. Beautifully done. So good. We haven't had a good segue for a while. That was a good one. I like that. That.
It is true. We have a guest next week. Very, very special guest. Very, very excited. And I guess that's pretty much it for today. Thanks as always, mate, for chatting to me about everything.
And you, mate. And I'm glad I got slowed you down and you calmed down. You're a little bit more calm now, which is great. Yeah.
No, I don't know whether the beer's probably helped as well. But
yeah.
Who said having a beer at 9 o'clock in the morning was a bad?
Wasn't a bad thing. There you go. Yeah.
Oh, I've given away secrets now.
Oh,
yeah. Right. All the best to you for the final couple of shows, mate. I'm sure.
Cheers, mate. It's great. Lovely.
And to everyone at home or on the tube, whether you're listening or watching or when you're streaming or whether this is 2028 and you're watching back and going, oh, bloody hell, what are they talking about? The BBC.
Well, that's two old fools talking about. Yeah.
Thank you all for joining us. And we'll see you next week.
See you next week, everyone.
Cheers all. Ta-da.
Bye-bye.
Thanks again for watching this episode of Drewling Samantics.
Please make sure you subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video.
Don't forget, we're also available as audio only. Just search Drewling Samantics in any good podcast app. And please support us on social media. All our links and handles are on screen now.
We love welcoming new followers and subscribers, so why not share with your family and friends so they can join in too? Thanks very much. See you next time.